Hello and welcome to the DSR Daily for this Wednesday, February 26th. I am your host, Riley Fessler, joined by my wonderful co-host, Minna Stein. How are you, Minna, now that February is almost over?
I'm going to miss February, but every month that goes by is a month closer to the end of the year. So, you know what? It's going to be okay.
That's some wisdom right there. And it's so true. I will not miss February. I'm excited for March.
Spring.
But, yeah, exactly. Spring, much better than winter, I have to say.
Agree.
Though I love all seasons except summer.
Having experienced a full range of seasons now, I do agree that spring is better than winter. So, and you can quote me on that.
Summer in DC is just unpleasant.
But it's like
frankly.
summer in Florida, so
Yeah, see, it's not like summer in Ohio, so I don't like it. I don't like the humidity. But we've still got spring to enjoy before then. And before even that, we have news stories. So why don't you get us kicked off, Minna?
yes. The House narrowly passed the Republican budget resolution by a vote of 217 to 215, securing a critical win for Speaker Mike Johnson despite chaos and delays. The resolution aims to advance President Trump's legislative agenda, though it faced resistance from some Republicans and strong opposition from Democrats, who argue it would lead to devastating cuts to programs like Medicaid. With the measure now heading to the Senate, GOP leaders hope to use reconciliation to pass it, while continuing to address concerns about the potential impact of the budget on American citizens. A lot of Republicans have been quoted saying Democrats need to just go and lick their wounds. Medicaid wasn't even mentioned in this resolution. There was no mention of Medicaid. Democrats are making up that it's going to affect Medicaid, but the resolution does have a $2 trillion budget cut to in line with all of the federal spending cuts that Trump wants to make. And that would get rid of essential programs or significantly cut back on essential programs like Medicaid and Social Security.
Because that money's not going to come out of the Pentagon.
No.
The Pentagon, we've just decided as a country, is just unimpeachable in terms of its budget. We saw some minor cuts by Pete Hegseth, but I view that more as just reorganizing where the money is spent rather than a true cut.
Exactly.
And, if you really want to make a dent on this $2 trillion, a lot of it would have to come from the Pentagon. And since it's not, you have to turn toward essential programs like Medicare, Medicaid. Cutting federal employees isn't going to really save that much money. It causes more costs from inefficiencies, and also the federal workers' salary doesn't even come close to $2 trillion. So, yeah, it's reading between the lines. This is obviously going to have to come from essential programs. This is going to be extraordinarily unpopular. And to be fair, nothing Trump has really done so far has been very popular. And we've already seen his popularity take a massive hits. And the hits are going to keep coming from this budget cut.
Well, to foreshadow one of our other stories that we have upcoming, people are not happy about it. And as much as it's not a good thing for essential programs to get cut, they are programs, as the name would suggest, that are essential, that people need. And so they are pushing Republicans to start to change their minds. And as we've said before on this podcast, the only way that things are really going to change is if Republicans and GOP leaders are the ones who turn. But I will wait until we get to that story.
Well, in other news, Ukraine announced that Washington would support its efforts to secure security guarantees under a finalized minerals deal, though the U.S. itself has not offered direct security commitments. Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal confirmed the government would approve the agreement's wording, calling it preliminary, and suggested security guarantees would be negotiated between the two presidents before signing. A draft agreement states the U.S. backs Ukraine's pursuit of security guarantees, while Kyiv would allocate 50% of proceeds from future monetization of state-owned natural resources to a joint fund with the U.S. However, existing assets and licenses would remain outside the deal, and Shmyhal emphasized Ukraine would not accept an agreement undermining its sovereignty. Um, Troubling that there's not any direct security commitments yet. It seems like a big concession by Ukraine for something that is just basically to agree to negotiate security commitments. I certainly wouldn't trust this administration with that, but I hope that, you know, Zelensky and Shmihal know more of what they're doing on these negotiations than I do, because securing Ukrainian defense is obviously a top priority, or should be a top priority. Alas, it is not for this administration.
Yes. Well, headed to the story that I foreshadowed, several House Republicans are returning to Washington to seek more information and a compassionate approach regarding the federal budget cuts and layoffs under Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. Some lawmakers, like Representative Rich McCormick, plan to urge Musk and President Trump to consider a more considerate strategy for the affected workers, while others, like Representative Scott Fitzgerald, want more details on the cuts. Despite concerns from constituents, Representative Kevin Hern and others maintain support for the Department of Government Efficiency's mission to reduce government spending, citing the country's mounting debt as a key reason for the cuts. Representative McCormick says he has a meeting upcoming with Trump, and the goal of that meeting is to bend his ear on the issues and get him to concede to this more compassionate approach. Like I said earlier, these essential programs and jobs of people who work for the federal government are important to them. And regardless if they're a Democrat or a Republican, they're upset that they're getting fired or their Social Security is coming under fire. It's people not pleased with this. And there's been a few town halls, right, where people are just like yelling at their representatives, Republicans, because they're upset with how things are going.
Yeah, seeking compassion and a compassionate approach from this administration seems like a fool's errand. But, you know, the discontent is pretty obvious with these cuts. And it's only going to get worse as more people feel the effects. The fact that we're already seeing so much public outcry over them is encouraging. And I suspect we will only see more as time goes on, and Trump's approval will continue to plummet. And, you know, hopefully that will give Republicans the leeway to start breaking with him if he becomes that unpopular. Yeah. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. We can only hope that's the case. But, you know, he's certainly speed running, maximizing his unpopularity. So we'll see. It
might be false hope, but the reason why I picked this story was I think we all deserve a little glimpse of possible hope that maybe Republicans will go against Trump for the betterment of the country.
We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it.
Maybe.
Well, speaking of the man himself, President Trump proposed replacing the EB-5 immigrant investor visa program with a gold card that would cost $5 million and offer a path to U.S. citizenship. The new program would grant green card privileges and allow wealthy individuals, including potentially Russian oligarchs, to obtain citizenship by purchasing the card. Trump criticized the EB-5 program as flawed, citing fraud and inefficiency, and announced that more details about the gold card scheme would be revealed in 2 weeks. I can't speak on the EB-5 immigrant investor program and its efficiency, but I mean, is there just a more nakedly corrupt sounding just idea than, we'll give you citizenship for $5 million? I mean, come on.
This is like, it sounds like an idea that you would, like, in the middle of the night, half asleep, like in a dream state, like scribble down on a piece of paper and then wake up and be like, what? Like, that's not a good idea. Why did I think that?
Something you and your buddies would come up with while drunk.
But, like as a joke.
It's also just a parody of like what a corrupt administration would think is a good idea. Because, I mean, come on.
Well, it's very in line with all of the schemes that they came up with during the campaign, you know, like the gold watches and the sneakers and this gold immigration card. Embarrassing.
Making a quick buck is like the calling card for Donald Trump. And like you said, all the things he did on the campaign trail, all the things he's done throughout his career and throughout his lifetime. This isn't surprising, but it is embarrassing.
What if we did immigration, but we made it gold? It's like ridiculous.
Gold status. What if you could get a fast pass for the path to citizenship?
Oh, horrible. Well, our last story for today. Apple is working to fix a flaw in its speech to text. Oh no. Okay. Apple is working to fix a flaw in its speech-to-text tool after users reported that saying racist into their iPhones sometimes resulted in the word Trump being transcribed. I don't see anything wrong with that. The words are synonyms. Makes sense to me. The company attributed the issue to a speech recognition error involving words with R, but experts have dismissed this explanation as implausible, suggesting it may have been an intentional change in the software. Videos online show the error occurring inconsistently, and the BBC was unable to replicate it, indicating Apple's fix might already be in place. A former Apple employee speculated it could have been a prank, while Apple has faced previous AI-related issues, including misleading news summaries. Man, if it's a prank, that's crazy.
It's obviously a prank. There's no way that it's mixing up the words of racist and Trump.
Yeah.
Unless, I mean, the only way I could see that happening is if it's pulling information from the internet and is somehow drawing people saying Trump is a racist, and just there's such a volume of that it happened. But
right.
I think it's much more likely that some programmer did it.
We should get that person working in DOGE.
Especially given how limited it seems to have been and how quickly it was fixed. Mm-hmm. I imagine if it was actually like drawing from sources, it would take longer to fix, but it seems like it was fixed pretty quickly. Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like it was somebody just messing around. But it's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny.
I applaud them, even though they probably will lose their job. But I don't know if it was worth it. But it certainly made me laugh. Another story I saw that I didn't cover is Representative Dan Crenshaw's hot mic comments. Did you see this, Minna?
No, I didn't. What were his hot mic comments?
Well, he had an interview with a British news channel. And after the interview was over, the interviewer, Stephen Eddington, asked Crenshaw if he'd ever met Tucker Carlson in person, because they were talking about Tucker Carlson's opposition to sending aid to Ukraine. And Crenshaw said, "We've talked a lot on Twitter. If I ever met him, I'd fucking kill him." Which has stirred up some drama in the right-wing space. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene tagged Crenshaw in a post asking if he threatened to kill her friend, to which he responded with "LOL, no." And then Carlson invited Crenshaw to sit down for an interview, saying, "Why don't you come sit for an interview and we'll see how you do. I'll send you my address."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Bold from Tucker Carlson, who strikes me as a coward and not particularly tough person.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
To start beef with a veteran.
That's a fight he will surely lose.
This is a let them fight scenario, because I don't like Crenshaw, I don't like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I don't like Tucker Carlson. So just a bunch of people I don't like. I like
duking it out.
I dislike Representative Crenshaw less than I dislike the other two. Mm-hmm. So I guess if I had to side with somebody, I'm siding with him, though. I mean, he has said since then, obviously, he didn't mean it. So just some tough words, but kind of interesting to see some more infighting from the Republicans.
Mm-hmm. Nothing makes me happier than Republican infighting.
Yeah, it's glorious. I'm curious if he'll face any kind of actual repercussions for this. Probably not.
Probably not.
I'm sure there'll be a slight investigation, since it is a threat of violence. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, what's nice about it, I guess, is that the information came out as it happened, right? I feel like years ago when Trump ran for president the first time, there was all of these people like Tucker Carlson, others who were like, we love Trump, he's amazing. And then they were like texting each other like, this is a nightmare, this would be a disaster for our country, like he's awful, we hate him. And then like that information didn't get released until much later. So it's nice to see the Republican infighting happening in real time so that we know that they're talking out of both sides of their mouths.
Yeah, no, that's very true. It's a nice change. More infighting, please. Give
us more now, please.
Pump it into my veins. But anyway, that's all we've got for you today. So, some more positive stories, or at least some funny ones. Thank God. We really needed it. We really needed some palate cleansers.
We need levity.
But the week's not over. We'll be back tomorrow with some more DSR Daily. We've got our classic, the OG, Deep State Radio, later today. So stay tuned for that. We've got our new show, AI, Energy, and Climate, out. So that came out yesterday. And we have I believe it came out Monday. And then we have another one coming out tomorrow. So please go check that out on the DSR Network channel, as well as the AI, Energy, and Climate channel itself, which is just launched. So check that out. And until tomorrow, bye-bye.